The Boys from Oklahoma concert is fast approaching, and even though the star of this show is going to be the long-awaited reunion of Red Dirt icons Cross Canadian Ragweed, another band that recently rose from the ashes is going to be sharing the headlining slot with them for this monumental weekend of music. I'm talking, of course, about the mighty Turnpike Troubadours. Before Evan Felker and R.C. Edwards formed Turnpike Troubadours in 2005, Cross Canadian Ragweed had been paving the way for Red Dirt artists like themselves to rise. While CCR's sound was more aligned with the grunge movement of the 90s, Turnpike brought in a more recognizable country influence to Red Dirt music, drawing inspiration from Texas songwriters, folk rock, Leon Russell's Tulsa sound, and leaning in heavily into fiddle music. The band gained huge career success in the mid to late 2010s, beloved by fans and critics alike, before rumors started to spread about trouble in paradise. The band split in summer 2019 and went on hiatus for a few years, before delighting fans with news of a comeback in late 2021. Today, Turnpike is back and bigger than ever, and about to be a key part of the largest event in the history of Red Dirt music. So in honor of this event, and also because admittedly I'm not as familiar with Ragweed's history and discography as I would like to be, I'm going to break down 6 songs that highlight Turnpike Troubadour's story and the unique qualities that make them great. Now, if you've seen a couple other videos I've done in this series, you know that this number is based on one song for each album, and you might be thinking to yourself, hey, looking at Spotify or Apple Music, I only see 5 Turnpike Troubadours albums. Guess what? We're going to start at the very beginning, the demo they recorded in 2005 that is no longer available on streaming services. That album is called Bossier City, and we're going to start by talking about the title track from that album. Really quick, if you're interested in finding out more about this now defunct album, I did a little mini history on it, which you can actually find linked in the description below. There are a lot of reasons I chose to highlight this song in particular, but chief among them was Evan's storytelling and his wordplay on this song, paired with his ability to write a catchy hook, just gave us a great preview of the songwriting genius we are about to see in future records. This project was a little scrappy, it was a little rough around the edges. It was a CD that they recorded just so that they would have something to sell at shows within the first month of forming the band. But this song stood out, and rightfully so. The song was so good that a decade later, they would re-record it for their self-titled album. I think it's great to highlight this version of Bossier City, which you can still find kicking around the internet in some places, because it's so early on in the band's career that it doesn't really sound like the band we know now, which is a big part of the reason that the band actually had the Bossier City album removed from streaming services. However, this song gives us an interesting window into the early days of the band. It's not perfect, but it sounds exactly like what it is. A recording by a young, scrappy band trying to find their identity still. A few years pass before their next release, and in that time, Turnpike as we know them starts to form. Critically, fiddle player Kyle Nix joins the band, injecting the once more Ragweed-inspired group with a country edge. Then in 2010, Turnpike released the album that would kickstart their careers, Diamonds and Gasoline. I've got to say, how do you even pick a song off this album to highlight? This album is the thesis statement for Turnpike Troubadours, and every song has a strong case to be the song from the album. The idea of picking just one is cruel. However, I'm going to pick Every Girl as the song to represent this project and era, because I think this song is critically important to understanding this band. There's a reason this song is frequently their opener in concert, and I think it's notable to highlight that this was the very first song that they played on their very first show back at Kane's Ballroom post-hiatus. This song is a mission statement for the band. When they launch right into it, you know exactly what Turnpike Troubadours is about, and you get excited for what you're in for. With its high energy, interplay between electric guitar and fiddle, and Evan's lyrical imagery on this song, I think it's the perfect introduction not only to this album, but to this band as a whole. I'm sure early fans could tell you that Turnpike was destined for greatness after hearing Diamonds and Gasoline alone. Evan's powerful storytelling and the explosive performances by the band are undeniable. It's hard to believe this is only their second shot at recording an album. But in music, nothing is ever certain. Plenty of promising bands flame out. Their second release had to be a smash as well. And sure enough, it was. Goodbye Normal Street was another stellar album, and in some ways a more consistent one than Diamonds and Gasoline. It's not quite as in-your-face as the previous release, but that's kind of the beauty of it also. There's a lot more subtlety and nuance to the performances and production, showing the ways that the band has grown since their breakout album. And even though it's another high-energy song like those present on Diamonds and Gasoline, I think the best song to represent this era is Before the Devil Knows We're Dead. Things were picking up for Turnpike. They were gaining more notoriety as a band, and a rabid and expanding fan base meant that their shows were getting bigger too. This song is about making the most out of life while we're still living it, something that was probably critically important to the band at this point in time. Evan was an electrician before Turnpike took off. Like a lot of people in his position, he wasn't sure if the future was certain and wanted to enjoy the time in this band and living this lifestyle while he still could. Before the Devil Knows We're Dead also underscores some of the danger that this lifestyle brings with it. While the worst of it was still further down the road, this song indicates that Evan and the band were starting to internalize some of the vices that so often come with being a musician. We're going to flash forward real quick through a few years of touring and growth to 2015's self-titled album. And for this album, I'm going to highlight The Bird Hunters. I'll be honest, I chose to highlight this song because I think it's Turnpike at their absolute best. I don't think it's representative of any sort of career or personal development with the members of the band. I just think when you listen to it, it is just like, wow. Listen to this band. Evan's lyrics are super evocative, Kyle Nix's fiddle hook is perfect on this, and even Ryan Engelman's like steady chunking guitar rhythm in this, fantastic. If there's one song I want to point to and say this is what Turnpike is all about, it's The Bird Hunters, hands down. And here's the proof of Evan's strength as a songwriter. I grew up in a rural community, but I did not go hunting growing up, and yet every time I hear this song, like, I feel an emotional weight, it takes me back home. I think that just speaks to his power as a songwriter. I'll give a quick honorable mention for this album to Long Drive Home, because if I'm trying to tell the story here, honestly, this probably better outlines this theme of excess that we're starting to see creep in, especially with that line, "They all want to be Hank Williams, they don't want to have to die." I'm going to continue breaking down the songs that define Turnpike's career here in a moment, but before I do, I'd like to ask you if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to the channel. I cover roots music here, you know, alt country, Americana, folk, that kind of stuff, and if you follow along, you might see me talking about some more of your favorite artists here soon. Alright, back to the video. Next up, off of 2017's A Long Way From Your Heart, Something to Hold On To. I think this song is indicative of that accelerating train ride we've been talking about. Turnpike was starting to become one of the most revered bands in country and Americana, and that popularity was only increasing. Something to Hold On To feels like a merry-go-round gone out of control. It's a bit of a story song, but it really just kind of shows some of the chaos and the fast pace of this point in time for Turnpike. And after A Long Way From Your Heart, things started to get weird. Turnpike's star rose higher than anyone was ever expecting it to, and in 2017, they found themselves opening a national arena tour for Miranda Lambert. During this time, Evan had an affair with Miranda, resulting in his wife Stacy filing for divorce from him. And even as they were able to start doing bigger and further reaching tours, cancellations were starting to become more common. Rumors began circulating about Evan's drinking and infidelity, and it became clear that the band was heading to troubled waters. An honestly nightmarish video of Evan drunk off his ass performing at a charity event started circulating, and fans saw the writing on the wall. In May of 2019, Turnpike canceled a show at the last minute and announced that the band was going on hiatus, leaving the future of the group uncertain. Fans watched as one of the greatest bands in country music disappeared for years, with little hope for a reunion and little idea where Evan was. This period was punctuated by a few solo projects by different band members, including a solo release by Kyle Nix, as well as an album from the long-running Turnpike side project, RC and the Ambers. However, during their hiatus, it actually felt like Turnpike's popularity was growing, thanks to song features in the show Yellowstone, reverence by rising stars like Co Wetzel and Zach Bryan, and the pandemic affording people more time to listen to and explore new music. Even though many fans had accepted that the band was over at this point, their music and their legend felt bigger than ever. Then in late 2021, the day fans were hoping for arrived. Rumors started circulating that small things were getting changed on the Turnpike website and that people should keep an eye out. Eventually, it was announced that the band was reuniting, Evan had gotten sober, and that they were going to be touring the country the next year. I can't stress enough, just as someone that was there, this was so exciting. I tried 4 times to get tickets to Red Rocks and failed. I mean, I technically could have gone, but I wasn't paying $400 and a hotel and then a plane. You get the idea. But it was a very exciting time to be a fan. In 2023, the band released their first album back from hiatus, entitled A Cat in the Rain. And I think it's actually most important to talk about the title track from this album as well. A lot of the songs on this album are about redemption, but this song captures Evan's downward spiral in a very poetic way. I think it's brave in its honesty and paints a very vivid picture of Evan as he starts to hit rock bottom. And in some ways, I think it's a recognition of the fact that he had to hit that rock bottom in order to get where he wanted to be, in order to heal and become a better person. And since then, Evan has actually done a great job of rebuilding his life. Him and Stacy are back together and have had another child. He's been able to stay sober, and he actually runs a cattle ranch in Oklahoma now, which he considers his primary focus versus the band, which I mean is just, honestly, that's kind of funny as hell to me. I can't imagine being in one of the most revered bands in country music and just being like, yeah, but I'm a cattle farmer first. But that also adds to their whole credibility. I don't know, I think it's awesome. But I think this song is a very good representation of what needed to happen for him in order for that redemption arc to happen. This is him processing through all the worst of it and reliving it to try to get to a better place. Now the band is back and bigger than ever, and thanks to teasers Evan has been throwing out at recent concerts, we know that a new Turnpike album has been recorded. We're just waiting on an official announcement at this point. Could it be next weekend? We'll see. On Thursday, April 10th, Turnpike takes the stage for the first night of the Boys from Oklahoma concert, which is poised to be the biggest event in Red Dirt music yet. If you're interested in hearing more about the story of this concert, or of Ragweed getting back together, I have 2 different videos on the subject, which I'll link in the description below. What's your favorite Turnpike song? Let me know in the comments below. And since I don't feel equipped to do a version of this video for Ragweed, tell me what songs you think would be in the Ragweed and XML songs video, if you could make it. I'll be interested to hear what you say. I'm Brent Funkhauser from Red Moon Media. If you like roots music, go ahead and subscribe and follow along. I might talk about some of your favorite artists here soon.